As my plane landed, the Evalian air quickly filled my nose. This was my last time visiting Evalia. Well, I am glad to be able to get myself here for one last adventure. But something felt off. I don't want to sound mean and all, but the people here seem mad, like I just saw Eloise, the janitor, kicking down the trash bins, one at a time. I wasn't the only one who noticed this, as my mom too felt that Evalia had changed, but it wasn't a positive change at all. Grabbing my bags, the helper, named Roderick, came, but he wasn't in the mood at all. I quickly grabbed my phone to call a taxi but was surprised to see Doggy waiting for me. As soon as I saw him, he quickly came to help me with the bags, but I stopped him and shook his hand. He said, with a lot of sarcasm,
"Well, if it isn't the #1 officer in the LPD, how are you doing, pal?"
I cracked up, then said, "I am doing fine, what about you?" Doggy was excited to finally get to work with me, even though it was going to be the very last time. I am only staying for a week, but I am glad that I could get a flight. It was the last flight for Evalia. My mom quickly redirected my train of thought when she pointed at fainted Roderick, and said, with a tone of worry,
"Oh my goodness. What happened?"
As I was about to examine the body, Doggy stopped me and said,
"Don't worry about him. It's a disease that is spread. It's airborne."
I was confused, but unlike the other times I have my family, whose responsibility I hold, so I didn't want to risk their lives. So as I placed the last of the baggage, I rode inside the police car and left. Within the car ride, I started to notice that no one seemed to be on the streets. This was strange. I wanted to investigate this, but I prioritized my rest and ensured that my family was safe. My mom was asleep, so it was my chance to ask Doggy about what exactly is happening, so I started the conversation by saying, "So, how is Evalia?" Doggy, confused by the question, replied,
"Fine, I guess. Why the question, though?"
I immediately replied, "Evalian citizens seem absent from the streets and more so, are mad and not in the mood to talk, other than you of course." Doggy chuckled, but I can tell that he was hiding something, and he can tell that I can tell that he is hiding something from me. So I continued to inquire him and said, "Is there something you want to tell me? You know, like maybe a..." Before I can continue, Doggy pulled the brakes. Someone was right in front of us, like in front of the car. Usually, I'd get down to examine it, but with the disease spreading, I didn't bother to go down. The man in front continued walking, but it was an unusual walk or action. I had the chills running down my spine. Looking at Doggy, I gave him the "you got some explaining to do" look, and he knew that I wouldn't take this as some sort of accident, but it would be time before he told me. Once we arrived at the LPD, which is the Lucella Police Department, Doggy urged my mom to hurry while walking across the street to the station, getting me even more worried, and I know that Doggy would never want anyone to rush, but this seemed like something big, too big.
"We are today not open."
I looked at him again and then he said,
"Man, we got a lot to talk about. You up for some coffee?"
I thought about it. What would make this morning even better than to treat myself to a custom-made Doggy coffee? He needs to open a cafe someday, but as much as I wanted to, I couldn't. I really was responsible for my family, so I said, "Well, how about I first get my mom to the hote?" Then Doggy, his face turned yellow, which is why I stopped. It was confession time for Doggy. He had secrets. I have some of my own, too. Like why I am here, but that is later for me to reveal. The only people who know are my mom and brother. Until then, I told Doggy, "So, I'm up for that coffee," and an explanation. Before the explanation, I went to tell my mom to go up to my room. Yes, in the LPD, the top 10 of the crew get their own housing, and I am pretty sure no one could beat my arrest, and I was correct. The room was still there, so I gave her my keys. She locked the door and I was going down the stairs to Doggy for the explanation, but I was stopped by the rival trio, Edmund, Admund and Redmond. Edmund started the conversion by saying, I quickly pinned Edmund to the wall and said, "It ain't gonna make you cool by reminding someone of their past. Did you tell them yet?" Edmund stayed quiet. Admund came, defending his friend, and said,
"Let him go."
I looked at him up and down and told him, "Who do you think you are? This is only the beginning. I know all of your secrets, and one by one, they will all be exposed." They all looked like I said something bad. I continued, "Your words, referring to Edmund, may be true, but not 100%. One day, just one day, you'll all see that even the bestest of friends hide secrets from one another. So don't cross my family's path, and I will think about letting the secrets fully go down the well." I left. They all seemed affected by my words, They were looking at each other, surprised. Because of what I know about them, they wouldn't stay in their jobs for a millisecond after it. As I caught up with Doggy, I saw him talking to Polly, so I went up to join the conversation. I then entered, shook Polly's hand, then said, "What's up?" Polly, seeming like he saw a ghost, was so surprised that he looked at Doggy and said,
"Is this one of your April Fool's pranks?"
I didn't want to think about this, but did Doggy hire people to look like others? Does that explain why when I talked to General Fergus, he was laughing every time I told him something last Halloween? Oh boy. Doggy reassured Polly that it was the actual me, not a prank. Polly quickly looked me up and said,
Alright, that was just the first half for my new book series or audiobook. I am excited. I also didn't have time to finish the first chapter, so I decided to just leave it off of there. I am planning to continue it. I've just been quite busy recently with a lot of stuff. Yeah, and that's practically it. I'm gonna see if this does really good. I'll probably start working on it earlier than other videos. If not, then I'll probably just push it back to summer. Yeah, please tell me what you think about it so I can know your opinion, and that's it. And yeah, that's the story.